Hey Jacksonville, it's Matt Pittman with the Times Union and Jacksonville.com. Today we are inside Bold Bean Coffee Roasters over here on Stockton Street. I'm sitting with the man, Al Letson.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. So tonight it's a big event over at WJCT, Race in the River City. And this is kind of a thing you've been doing about doing some speaker series over at WJCT. Tonight's exciting. I want to hear all about it.
Sure. With all the events that happened in the country in 2014, with the Eric Gardner case, with the Mike Brown case in Ferguson, we had this date on the books, and me and my boss, Karen Fagan, sat down and thought about what would be the most relevant thing that we wanted to talk about. And it just felt like Race in the River City was the thing that we wanted to address.
How do you feel race is in Jacksonville? Like, what's the state of race here in Jacksonville?
Sure. Well, I think that not just in Jacksonville, but in America on a whole, we live kind of in these parallel worlds, right? That your experience of America is different from my experience of America.
Probably very
different.
Yeah.
But we don't ever really talk about those things. And so the way I see things, what's happened to me in the past affects the way I see things in front of me. And same for you. And so if our experiences are vastly different, we can look at the events that happened in Ferguson, we can look at the events that happened here in Jacksonville and have completely different understandings of it. So what I want to try to do is have a conversation to let people on both sides of the line understand what the other person is looking at. Basically, like, this whole conversation should be an exercise in empathy.
You talk about personal experiences that you've had that's kind of shaped and molded your life or where you're going. Example.
Sure. I mean, growing up, I grew up in Orange Park, not too far from here, and I had some really crazy things happen to me that I think most people have not had to deal with.
I think definitely I've heard a couple of your stories, and I have no inclination of any of it. It's just not my life.
Yeah.
I don't know, it probably is because I'm white.
Sure.
But I just don't,
Right.
I can't even see it.
Yeah, and so that's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation, because I think, what happens is that in America, a lot of white people don't experience. So, for example, and this is just hypothetical, there's a lot of white people who really don't have to experience this stuff and don't feel like when they see a black person, they don't feel like, I hate that person or anything. And so for them, I think a lot of times it's hard to understand that there are like subtle little racist things that happen around black people all the time. And because they don't experience it, because they don't feel that way, they don't see it. And so what I'd like to do is kind of open people's eyes a little bit, but I also want to listen too. I think that that's one of the things that we have to be able to do in these conversations. Like, the conversation is you talking, me listening, me talking, you listening, and us kind of coming somewhere. So really, that's kind of the environment that I want to create with this event tonight.
And this will not be the only event going on with you. You continue to do these speaker series. I mean, you're always out and about. You're always doing your own thing.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this is the one we have planned now, but you will definitely see me doing more. It's kind of my thing.
Well, I am a huge fan of yours, so if everybody else wants to be a fan of yours, where can we find you? Where can we go? And what's the latest for Al Letson?
Sure, you can check me out on stateofthereunion.com, WJCT.org. Or my website, alletson.com. I've got a couple new exciting projects that I can't talk about just yet, but they're coming out pretty soon. One thing I can talk about is I'm also, on top of hosting State of the Reunion, I also host another show called Reveal. Reveal is investigative journalism, and for our pilot episode, we won a Peabody.
That's great.
Yeah, it's surprising. I was like, really? Okay, thank you. So I'm doing all of those things. I have a play that's going to be opening at the Mosh with the Five and Dime, and that'll be in April. I'm really excited for that. I got a bunch of stuff in the air.
You're not busy at all. All right, honestly, you're one of the coolest guys I've met in Jacksonville, so I'm glad to call you one of my friends.
Yes.
So check out Al Letson and check out WJCT.org for details on Race in the River City, when it's going to air. All right, more videos from me, Matt Pittman, right here at Jacksonville.com. And to see where I'm going to be next, follow me on Twitter. It's at Matt Pittman, FTU.